Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of the Human Talk Podcast, the podcast where humans talk. This is an interview style podcast where I ask our questions about everything and anything. I'm joined today by our amazing guest, Atharva Vispute, and I am your host, Jacob Walker. Atharva, how's it going today?
It's going pretty well, Jacob. Thank you for having me.
That's good, that's good. Atharva has done some incredible things in his lifetime. He's only 18. He's traveled the globe and he's gotten to hold an Olympic torch. You wanna talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. So I got to hold the Olympic torch and be a torchbearer for the United States as part of a program called Young Champion Ambassador. So the program was founded here in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and it essentially looks to bring together youth from across the city and build them up through a one-of-a-kind, really, leadership program focused on the Olympics and the Olympic values and the Olympic spirit. And through that class, which I joined 2 years ago, is when I joined the class. And the year before that, I actually didn't get selected to even join the class. But 2 years ago, I joined and I went through this program and I built really great connections with all of my peers in the program, as well as, really exuded the leadership profiles that they were looking for that really fit with the Olympic values. And through that, I was selected by my peers and the mayor of Colorado Springs to be the Olympic torchbearer and be the Young Champion Ambassador. So traveled to Greece in March of 2020, just a couple months ago. It feels like just a couple months because of quarantine, but it's been a couple more than couple.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
And definitely. And my family and I all went, and we got to spend some time in Greece. We spent 10 days in Greece, and we got to see Olympic museums. We got to go to ancient Athens, and finally I got to run in the Olympic torch relay, and I got to hold the 2020 Olympic torch, which was the Japanese Summer Games torch, and it was a phenomenal experience, to say the least.
Yeah. So those Olympics never happened, right? So you've been one of the only people to ever hold that torch.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
crazy.
it was really cool because they did the first 2 days of the torch relay before they canceled it because of the pandemic. So they distributed about 30 torches, and those torches were the only ones that were actually lit up and got to run in the relay. So I was one of 30 people, which is really, really cool, and it's a great honor. And yeah, it's just indescribable.
That's really crazy. So what are some of the sites that you got to see in Greece? It sounds like it was just a big trip.
Oh yeah, it was a huge trip. We definitely got to see ancient Athens, ancient Olympia, where the first ever Olympics took place and where the Olympic torch relay took place as well. One of the cool things that we saw there was they practiced the beginning of the torch relay, and it's incredible because if you think back to, however many thousands of years ago that was, they literally had kind of like a magnifying glass that would focus all of the sun's energy into like a single point, and that's how they lit the flame for the Olympic torch. And then once that's lit, they start doing they start running the torch, right? And they also start doing a dance type of deal. So it's like an ancient Greek dance that signifies the start of the Olympics, and that torch was then run across pretty much all of Greece way back when, and ancient Olympia. And that was really the start of the Olympics. So we got to see that. We also got to spend some time on an island called Santorini. Beautiful island. It's got all the white houses and everything's painted white. It's just gorgeous. And, we got to also spend some time with Greek students in high schools and meet individuals from around the world that were brought there by the Olympics. I met somebody from Australia and New Zealand and Japan and Nepal, and the list goes on. And you just got to form some really incredible relationships with people literally all across Greece, which was phenomenal.
That sounds really incredible. It just sounds like a great journey to go like literally across the ocean and see a whole nother culture, a whole nother thing. Was there any good food that you had? Like, was there something you're like, man, I wish I could go back to Greece just so I could eat another gyro or something?
It's like all of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
all of it. I mean, the food is incredible. Okay. They're known for their olives. They're known for their olives, and the olives taste wonderful, but everything in Greece tastes so good because it's literally just, they harvest it right there in Greece. So there's not a bunch of processing or like long distance shipping because Greece is not huge. And so all of the food is super fresh, incredibly delicious. It's just mind blowing. Like you have to go there. I can't describe it. You have to go.
Man, I'll have to take a trip sometime all the way to Greece. I've never left the United States
Yes,
except for
it's
when I
worth
was
it.
born. So, like, that sounds really cool.
Gotcha. Yeah, definitely. Greece is a very, very good location to go to.
Yeah, yeah. So I've also heard that you've done a lot of stuff with student council and like a fundraiser at your school. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So this year I am the executive senator for student council, which means I'm kind of the senator for the student body. And through that role and various others throughout the years in student council, I have gotten the chance and the opportunity to, really listen to students, listen to what they want, and build on those opinions to make events that the students really will engage in and love. And so a great example of that was in sophomore year. Mitch Rubin and myself were listening to the students, and we had this idea: what if we created an outdoor movie night? And we ran it past a couple of people, and everybody said they loved it. And from there, we started this process of, okay, how do we start the event and let all of our advisors know? How do we actually build a movie screen, which we built out of bed sheets later on and tablecloths, which was a fun experience and somewhat challenging. And then actually getting the word out and turning it into a fundraiser where we sold concessions in a fundraiser for Bald for Bucks and the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. So that event gained or attracted so many people. I think we had 300 the first year and 325, 350 the second year. And then we've had the outdoor movie nights with, the drive-in movie nights this past year. So I've gotten to be a part of that. Another big part is Bald for Bucks itself. Uh, it's Balls for Bucks is just on a completely different level. The entire Rampart community and the Colorado Springs community, really, and beyond, comes together to donate and shave their heads for cancer awareness and for cancer research. And all of those proceeds go to a hero family in Colorado Springs, one who's typically been diagnosed with leukemia or lymphoma. And we give them funds to kind of help out with their treatments. And we also donate a ton of money to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And I think Rampart has raised over $500,000, which is absolutely incredible. And to be a part of that fundraising event and also to help put on the assembly where we foster that school spirit and that Rampart spirit has been a really life-changing and breathtaking experience to see people come together, no matter what is going on outside in the world. People come together every year to that event. And we really act as a community. It restores your faith in humanity no matter what.
It does. It does. It's just amazing. That fundraiser
Yeah.
is just so powerful. There's so much passion in that entire auditorium, the entire time, not just like the actual assembly, but like all day, all the entire fundraising.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's an electric feel. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. So
So
are there
many
any
tears too. It's incredible.
it's just amazing. And there's like times where you don't think anybody's going to pull it off and then they do, and it's just amazing to see what this community can do.
Definitely.
Yeah. So are there any other stories about Greece or like any other travel stories that you want to tell?
Any other travel stories? So Harris Kolofonos, who was our guide in Greece, and he's also the founder and CEO of the YCA program. He was our tour guide in Greece because he actually spoke Greek, and the rest of us, well, we didn't. And one of the things that became iconic when we were traveling with Harris was wherever, because he goes back to Greece every couple of years. So he's not constantly, living the Greek culture and eating the Greek food. And so one of the things that we really loved was anytime we saw something or ate something absolutely incredible, right? So when we saw the ancient temples in Greece, in the Parthenon, he had this thing where he went, "Oh my God!" right? It was just the funniest thing to watch. And so whether we were eating really good food or, eating ice cream in Greece or seeing the Parthenon or when I got the torch and it was my torch lit up, he would always have that moment of, oh my God. And it was just really, really fun to experience
Yeah, it sounds like he's got
and
a lot of
to really
energy.
connect with him in that way. Yeah. And I think you know Harris too, right, Jacob?
Yeah, I do know Harris. I was also in YCA last year, and he's just got so much energy. He's got a very positive aura to him. He's just very
Yes.
goofy. He's a very
Yes.
goofy but uh, mature kind of person. Like he can switch in a
Sure.
matter of
Yeah.
seconds to what he's doing.
Yeah, and actually we produced the YCA video, right? So we had a photographer and videographer with us named Nico, and he actually produced a video of like all of our travels in Greece and the whole Olympic journey. And if you actually watch one of the clips of the video that was produced, you can see Harris laughing his head off 1 second, and then the next second just going dead quiet and just being super serious. And I think that just like characteristic of Harris and how easily he can pivot and how well he's done to found YCA and move forward. And I
Yeah,
think everybody should. I wish everybody gets the chance to be a part of YCA.
because YCA started from nothing, right? Like it was just an idea, just like everything. Everything is based off of just
Yeah.
an idea. But to see this go from even this, like last year and this year, there was like 100 or some odd people last year when I was in it, and now there's like 300. So it's actively growing and
Mhm.
becoming something that everyone's gonna be a part of. It's a great leadership opportunity for anybody in the Colorado Springs area.
Yeah, definitely. And we're expanding too. I think we have a chapter in the Czech Republic, in India, in Greece, and then we're looking to make it go national too. So it's always growing, and I hope everybody gets the chance to be part of it.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. And it's a great opportunity to meet some leaders. Like while I was in that, I met the mayor, I met the person who runs that Olympic Museum. You can talk about that if you want to. Yeah, that's a big thing too. The new Olympic Museum in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, so the Olympic Museum is really the epitome of the way in which we move forward as a people and, through the Olympics. The Olympic Museum, like as soon as you walk in, you have there's this aura in the Olympic Museum where it's not only, cutting edge and so technologically advanced, but you realize that you're surrounded by thousands of years of history and thousands of years of traditions and a sense of community and spirit that literally travels across the world, right? That's what the Olympics does. And I think when you walk in and when you're really going through it, at least for me, the really impactful piece was that I understood that being part of the Olympics has bridged thousands of years of history and thousands of miles across from where people live. And that aura is really brought together in the Olympic Museum. And the Olympic Museum contains everything from Olympian stories to the Olympic torches to Olympic history to an overview of all of the sports that are played in the Olympics and how ordinary people can be Olympians. And it's the whole the whole atmosphere is really just building you up towards something phenomenal. And that's really what I love about the Olympic Museum. And if you haven't gone, you definitely should go. You've gone, right, Jacob?
Yeah, I've gone. It's so cool. I love everything about the museum. It's so technologically advanced in everything that they have. They have little
Yep.
cards
Yeah.
that you use for like personalization. You have different games. You can race Olympic athletes on like this giant projector wall. It's been in the works for like 10 or 15 years, but it's been worth it. It's just amazing to see all the
Yeah.
community come together and for them to pull it off on a year like this, on a year like 2020 where everything is just against you, for them to pull that off and make it something special is incredible. I can't wait to see how big and like community driven that place is going to be after this whole pandemic is over.
Exactly. And I mean, the way in which we have come together to put the Olympic Museum together is just phenomenal. I mean, there's no other way to describe it really. And I've gotten to hear some speeches and some like words of people who were Olympians and worked at the Olympic Museum. And I want to share one with you because it really it struck me as being incredible. This Olympian who he was a swimmer, or no, he was a runner, and I think he was in track and field, and then he had a car accident, and he didn't know what to do with his life, and he actually turned around and started swimming, I believe, and he won a silver medal in the Paralympics for swimming.
Wow.
And he gave this quote at the opening ceremony of the Olympic Museum, and he said, "Go forth and inspire your world. Go because it's your command. Forth is your direction. Inspire because it's your vocation. Your because it's your DNA, your unique perspective, and world because that's your sphere of influence." And that quote, just I still remember it, word for word, and it's just so impactful and empowering, really. And I think it really portrays the spirit of the Olympics.
Yeah, it brings together everybody. With that one quote, you can encompass almost the entire globe. Everybody's different perspectives and unique personalities. Everybody's everything is theirs to give to the world. Yeah.
So I guess a quesadilla is a sandwich.
Would a quesadilla be a sandwich? Oh, would it be a sandwich though? Because is a sandwich bread or like tortillas?
So I guess they call Oreo cookies also sandwiches, like Oreo sandwiches.
True.
Isn't that a thing too?
Yeah, I think that's a thing.
So I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be bread. So quesadilla is also a type of sandwich.
Right.
So, but then so I guess I would say hot dogs are a sandwich because it's still in my mind, a sandwich is where you're putting stuff in between bread. And even if the bread is like one piece in a hot dog, I guess I would still say that's a sandwich.
All right, I guess we have a definitive answer. Hot dogs are a sandwich. Now, another just goofy question for you to think about, like a big one all over the internet and everywhere. Is water wet?
Oh no, this question is confusing.
It's just awful.
It's an interesting question.
What do you think?
So when you classify something as wet, I guess you would say that it's saturated with water, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because when you're outside and it starts raining, you're wet, not when like some raindrops fall on you, but when your clothes become saturated with water and you get that sensation like, oh, I'm covered with water. And so I guess that any water molecule is also surrounded with water. Is it saturated with water? Can you say that?
Like, is water saturated with water? Is that a thing?
I think by
or is there just more water? Yeah.
So when you're saturated though, you like the surroundings are filled with water, right? Kind of. It's a gross generalization, but I feel like you could say that water is wet. I mean, what are your thoughts? Do you think water is wet, Jacob?
I think a good amount of water is wet. Like, is the ocean wet? Yes. But, like, if you have one single molecule of water, would that be wet since there's no other water around it?
No, because just like when you're outside in the rain, like some raindrops, not a problem.
Right.
But you become wet when you're saturated.
When you've got a lot of water.
So I guess like one singular water molecule is not wet.
But a water droplet or anything else that's bigger than one molecule of water will be wet.
I guess. But like even 2 molecules of water, one does not, I mean, that's not enough wetness to constitute wet. Or that's not enough water to constitute wet. So I guess like, I would say water is wet.
All right.
I mean, the probability of having just one molecule of water or like 2 molecules of water is very low. They usually, they bunch together, right? For the most part.
Right. They all like
unless
stick
they're
together.
In the air, because then they don't.
No, but then they're in like
unless
clouds.
Like
that's still a thing, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Clouds are
I would say
so heavy. Like
clouds are pretty heavy.
I never realized how heavy clouds were because they just look very light and airy, but in reality they're like hundreds of pounds, maybe even thousands.
They really are.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and What are they suspended by? They're suspended by air currents, right?
I think so, yeah.
I
And
don't
then
know.
like it gets so heavy that the water just falls from the sky, basically. Like the air currents can't hold them up anymore.
Yeah, that might be it. Yeah, that makes sense. I think they must be suspended by air currents.
Yeah, yeah.
That would make sense. Maybe it's like some atmospheric thing, some complicated weather physics.
Yeah, it's like that's why weathermen go to college. It's not just so they can predict forecasts. It's just, hey guys, how are clouds staying in the air? Okay, they're so heavy, but how do they stay
Right,
up there?
right. It's the physics of water
Physics
or
of
the physics
water.
of weather. Right. Maybe a weatherman would be able to better answer the question then
Yeah, I'll have to
as
get a
well, right?
weatherman on here to ask them how clouds stay up in the air. That's the only
I
question we'll
think you
talk
should.
about.
I
Yeah,
think that'd be interesting.
I think that'd be very interesting. I think I might confuse the guy too.
That'd
He'd
be
be
really
like,
cool though.
yeah, it would. So, on the topic of other
I think you
things
should get
that
a
you've
weatherman
done.
on here.
Oh, yeah, that'd be so much fun. On the topic of other things that you've
Yeah.
done, I've heard that you started a non-profit organization. What's that? What's it all about? Tell me all about that.
Of course. So I started this nonprofit organization, Sea of Actions, is what it's called, and like the big motto and like what we're really aiming for is big impacts through small actions, right? And what that really means, and the way in which we've built up Sea of Actions. And when I say we, it's like me and the other couple of people that are on our board of directors, essentially. Um, we have really worked together to create an organization that aims to empower other people. And so when I set about creating this organization, I originally aimed to teach certain skills like origami, the Rubik's Cube, chess, music, math, science, whatever it may be. I originally aimed to teach those subjects to underprivileged individuals in the community. And so I launched this project called the Sea of Action Summer Academy, and we launched it through advertisements on local TV stations. I think we got published in the newspaper as well, and we launched it, and we attracted over 85 people. I think it was 87 exactly
That's awesome.
to the Sea of Action Summer Academy. And through that, we were able to, over the summer of 2020, virtually and for free, we taught these students how to solve origami or how to solve the Rubik's Cube, to do origami, to play chess, to learn music, and more. And it was just an incredible experience. And that's really where this idea of empowerment was born. Because what I realized when I was teaching, and my little brother actually taught the Rubik's Cube too, and I taught the rest, is we are not just teaching these skills, we are teaching mindsets as well. We are empowering these people to realize that they can do weird things like fold origami that most of us don't really think about being able to do. We can solve the Rubik's Cube, and other people can solve the Rubik's Cube. And by empowering these other individuals, we were able to show them that they are capable of things that they didn't think they were capable of. And so that idea of empowerment really came through in the Sea of Action Summer Academy. And that's where that ideal was born. We also launched a Sea of Actions clothing drive. And so we went to about 15 schools, and we collected uncollected and unclaimed lost and found clothing, right?
Mhm.
That's ranging from jackets to shoes to pants to mittens and hats, and even more than that. And water bottles too. And we collected all of those. We collected over 1,500 articles of clothing, and we went to God's Pantry Food Bank, which is in Fountain, Colorado, and we got to give all of that out to underprivileged individuals in an underserved area. And actually, even getting to meet those people and getting to hear their stories and interact with them was absolutely incredible. And I'm very glad to know that we were able to provide that level of support and help to these people during COVID. It's been a very difficult time for everybody, and being able to be there for those people has meant a lot. And I've learned a lot from those people as well. So that is like an overview of Sea of Actions. We're also partnering with another organization called Tutors for Change to kind of launch this webinar series where we're teaching origami and the Rubik's Cube.
Mhm.
And I serve as like a social media manager for Tutors for Change as well. So we're working with Tutors for Change to kind of launch an even bigger project to teach, tutor, and empower other people. So that's really what Sea of Actions has been all about.
So does Sea of Actions have a website or like a social media handle that you can plug right now so that everybody can get to it?
Yeah, seaofactions.org.
Awesome,
That's
awesome.
as simple as that. And we would really appreciate it if you could check it out.
Yeah, if you guys do want to go check it out, it will be in the description of this podcast. So go ahead, go check it out. Go make a change. Go be another drop of wet water in that sea of change. Speaking of the
I
COVID
like that,
pandemic,
Jacob.
thank
That
you,
was
thank
solid.
you, thank you. I just made that up right now. Speaking of all the COVID stuff going on, how crazy this year has been, how has this pandemic and just everything that's been going on in the world been affecting you? How has it been affecting your way of life, everything that you've been doing in general?
You know, I would really say that COVID has been a very difficult time for a lot of people, and I've been lucky that my parents were able to work remotely from home, and that I've been able to stay safe, and my personal family, and all the relatives that I know and haven't been too affected by COVID. We've been very lucky in that aspect. So I've really been able to find some more of the silver linings of COVID, whether that be spending more time with family, kind of learning to cook. I'm not quite there yet. I'm getting there. Uh, Learning to draw, play more piano, spend more time, reflecting on who I want to be in the future, and even starting my nonprofit organization. I've really looked to find my own silver linings and then provide silver linings for others. And that's been my take on the whole pandemic. I definitely think that it's been long enough. I would be happy to go back to normal times, and I think a lot of other people would as well. But I have, in a weird way, enjoyed the additional time and forced creativity that has come out of the pandemic.
Sounds like you've
What has
made
been your experience with it?
it sounds like you've just made the most of this pandemic, and it's just amazing to see everything that you're doing, everything
I've
that you're
done my
starting
best.
up. Yeah, 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 yeah. This pandemic has been, I'm very fortunate. I still got to work. I've been working in the food industry, so I have to like make food for people. So I've gotten that opportunity still to have like a steady income and everything, which is nice. It's very helpful. And it's bad. This whole pandemic is just awful, but it's not been the worst for me, and I'm very thankful for that. Like my family has still been able to do everything that we can to like make it a enjoyable time still. It's not like horrible. Online school is online school. There's not much we can do about it. But I just think with everything going on, my situation is not nearly as bad as it could be. And so I'm just thankful that
Yeah, I
like I can
definitely
wake
agree.
up every single day and be able to do this, be able to talk to people over the internet, be able to like see people on the internet, be able to get an education. Because I know not everybody has that opportunity, that chance. And it's very incredible that you're giving people that opportunity. You're giving people that chance with your nonprofit. It's just very generous and kind. You have a very kind soul, Atharva. It's incredible how much you want to change
Thank
the
you.
world and how much you already have. You're not even 20. You are going to just absolutely
Thank you,
change the
Jacob.
course of history with everything you're doing. And you just got to keep up the great work. And once
Thank
again,
you, sir.
please
I
go
appreciate
visit
it.
that nonprofit down in the description, cforchange.org. It is incredible what he's doing. Tutor, what is it? What's the other one? Tutors?
So it's Tutors for Change and then Sea of Actions.
Sea
Yeah.
of Action. Oh, my bad, my
So
bad.
no, you're totally good.
Yeah,
And it's tutorsforchange.org. If you are looking for tutoring at a very low price, it's $1 an hour, and you are in need of that and really good assistance. Um, ev- People at Tutors for Change will be happy to help you. So please check that out as well.
that is wonderful. That is just incredible. This man right here,
Thank you.
you've seen it first. He's on this podcast first before he becomes like an international superstar. He's been here first. He was here. This is the beginning. I think that's going to wrap it up, unless you have any other
Thank
stories you
you.
want
I
to tell.
appreciate it. You're too kind, Jacob.
I'm not too kind. You're too kind.
Um, Do I have any other stories?
Yeah, any funny stories? Anything you want the world to know?
Anything I want the world to know? Well, keep on keeping on, everybody. We'll get there. And don't forget, climate change is a thing. We still need to stop it.
Hmm.
That's about it. Thank you so much for having me on, Jacob. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
That about does it for our podcast today. I hope you enjoyed. A big thank you once again to Atharva Vispute, the man who will change the world. If you did enjoy, please spread the podcast. It helps out a lot. Spread it on all of the social medias: Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, Tumblr. I don't know. What are some dead social medias?
Vine.
Vine, yeah. Go ahead and spread it on Vine too. TikTok. Don't spread it on TikTok. Don't spread it on TikTok. I don't like TikTok. Remember, tune in next week for more human talk.